Hi, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Becky. I live in the United States, and I live in the state of Maine, and I live in a home, well, my home, with my husband, Jason. Both of us are crafters. So this is our little spot where we want to be able to talk to you and everybody about our crafts and our progress, and just be able to find some like-minded people that we can chat to, maybe do a Zoom later on with, just different things like that. We live in a small rural community, and we don't have any close by yarn stores. To get to one, it's either going north for 40 minutes or going south for 40 minutes. And that 40 minutes is driving in a car on the interstate doing 70 miles an hour. So we don't have a lot of like-minded people in our area. We both craft. Jason likes to crochet more than knit, and I do both. I crochet and I knit. Another reason I really wanted to start the podcast was not only to have like-minded people that we can kind of converse with through texting or even possibly, like I said, a Zoom, but also be able to get advice. I don't know how to do everything, and I don't have anyone I can ask. Both my mom and my husband's moms used to crochet and knit. Unfortunately, they've both passed on now, so we don't really have anyone to lean on to ask, hey, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Or this instruction doesn't make any sense to me. We find a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and of course we try to look up things online as much as we can, but sometimes you just need someone to explain things in a different way, and if you don't have anyone around, it's kind of difficult. Let me talk a little bit about when I started crafting, and maybe we can entice my husband Jason into coming on and talking about when he started crafting, because that's his story, not mine. I started crafting in my early 20s. I remember hanging out at my mom's house, well, my mom and my dad's house, and my mom was crocheting, and I said, hey, can you teach me how to do that? And she was all excited. She's like, absolutely, I'll teach you how to do that. So she went and grabbed a crochet hook, and she grabbed a random ball of acrylic yarn, and she taught me how to chain, and she taught me how to single crochet and how to go back and forth and make a rectangle. I actually still have this blanket, and we'll get into that maybe another video. And I crocheted for a little while, but then I kind of put it away. As I started progressing in my career and doing different things, I didn't have as much time, or at least I thought I didn't have as much time to craft. So I kind of put it aside, I put it away. And it wasn't until, unfortunately, after my mom passed away, I decided to go back to college and finish my degree. And while I was in college, I found that I was getting frustrated. I didn't feel like I had control over life, over work, over school. It just, everything was compiling on. And that's when I took Saturday mornings and I sat down. I did not do homework. I did not think about work. I did not do anything. I just watched YouTube. I don't know why, but that's what I did. And in my feed, in my recommended videos, a crochet video popped up. And when that crochet video popped up, I just said, I can do that. So I went and grabbed some yarn, because I had a little bit of yarn, and my crochet hook that my mom gave me, and I started crocheting along with it. And something about that, I understood what I was doing. It made me feel good. There was so many different positive emotions I got from doing that I kept doing it. And it became my solace in a hectic world around me, that I was able to control what I was doing. If I made a mistake with crochet, I just ripped it out and started all over again. So it became very comfortable. I didn't start knitting until just a few years back. Unfortunately, it was after my husband's mom passed away. We inherited a whole bunch of knitting needles, and these knitting needles were made by my husband's mom. Her father made knitting needles and knit every single day of his life. So for my husband, there was never something weird about a man knitting or crocheting. It's just what they did. He always saw the men in his family, his grandfather and stuff, knit. So we had these knitting needles, and he really wanted to learn how to use them. So we both started using YouTube as a way to learn how to knit. The knitting didn't come very easy. We were Old English knitting, and for us, that just didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel fluid. It felt forced and uncomfortable. So we kind of put knitting aside and didn't really knit much, but I really wanted to make socks. So I made knitted socks. That's what I kind of worked on. And it wasn't until a little while later I saw a YouTube video that showed you how to continental knit. And I was like, ooh, I want to try that. So I did. And oh my goodness, did that change my knitting career, my knitting attitude. That's what I wanted. So from then, I just knit. I was a knitting machine. So let's go over some of that. Let me go over some of the things that I've already completed and some of the things that I'm in the midst of working on, and even some future plans. So let me start with what I'm wearing. I am wearing a cardigan, and obviously, right? I am wearing a cardigan. This is Harvest by Tin Can Knits. It is a free pattern in their beginner collection, their free collection for when you're starting how to knit. I absolutely loved this cardigan. So if you're looking for a free cardigan, that's pretty darn easy. It has great construction. It looks wonderful. I even love the whole way it falls. I love this. I would suggest Tin Can Knits Harvest. Now, what I don't love about this cardigan is the yarn selection I chose. If I haven't said it yet, I'm trying to use up a very large selection of acrylic yarn that I have in my closet. I have a bedroom that has turned into a craft room. I have a bedroom that has turned into a craft room. Oh my, that was tough. And it's full of acrylic. So I'm trying to use it up. Now, I do not mind acrylic as overs, like cover overs and stuff like that. And that's where I'm trying to use a majority of it up. At least for me, I have no issue myself wearing and using acrylic. The yarn I used for this, and I still have a leftover ball, is Red Heart Baby Essentials. I got this for $3 on clearance from a local store. So it's Baby Essentials, and this yarn is made for a baby blanket for a reason, not so much a cardigan. It's a little bit pulley. It's warm, it's beautiful. I like it, I don't hate it, but it kind of pulls and sags. That's the nature of acrylic in the first place, but it's not a stiff acrylic. I did knit some sweaters out of some different kinds of acrylic, which I really like the feel of that specific acrylic. I really like the feel of that specific acrylic, and I do have tons more left. So I'll show you that in my future plans. But this one, Red Heart Soft Essentials Baby, it's made for baby blankets, and that's probably where it should stay. Some of the things that I've made in the past that I really like. One, I love this cardigan, but some of the other things I made, and you might have seen my knitting time-lapse videos where I knit up this beautiful little mushroom hat for Jason. He loves it. He wears it whenever we go for a walk, especially in the fall. We go mushroom hunting. So we try to find as many mushrooms as possible. There are a few that we absolutely love. So there's this little hat. I started knitting it, and then when I got up to the section with the mushrooms, I realized my gauge was way too tight. So I pulled back. I should have pulled back all the way, but I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of a tightness here compared to up here. I didn't pull back, and I was knitting way too tight. My floats on the inside are pretty darn good. They're not too loose, they're not too baggy. My husband likes it because he says it keeps his ears extra warm. And this is just acrylic. This is Caron Simply Soft acrylic yarn. I used a green color, a red, and a tan. And then the little spots on the the little spots on the mushroom, I can't remember how to say it. The little spots on the mushroom are also tan, like the stems. This was such a cute project. The hats don't take very long. So he absolutely loves it. The other project you might have seen is my Leti-Lopi vest. And it has, I even put an extra little special border around the bottom, which was not in the pattern, but I kind of just took a little bit of the top and a little bit of the bottom and a little bit of the middle and did it. This is using some silk blend yarn from Hobby Lobby. I bought it, I think back in 2018 or 2019, and it has literally just been sitting in my closet. And since I'm trying to use the yarn that I currently have for projects, instead of buying new yarn, this ended up becoming that. It is very soft, but it does pill quite a bit, so I'll probably have to shave it down. This is called a Leti-Lopi vest because I believe the person who wrote the pattern used Leti-Lopi, but I didn't use it. I was trying to use stash. So I've used this royal purple, I used a gray, and this pink is the only one that's not a silk blend. This pink is a tencel, no, this pink is a bamboo. And it's one I had, I didn't want to buy anything new for. I love this. I love the way it fits. I love the way it feels. Sometimes I wish I made it just a little longer so I could almost wear it as a dress. That'd be cool. Ooh, maybe that's an idea. Make a dress. The last piece I want to show you that I've made that I absolutely love is this rainbow t-shirt. I love this rainbow t-shirt. All this is cotton, and it's by Cascade Yarns, and it is cotton and acrylic blend. I saw it, I absolutely loved the stonewash look of it, and I bought so many different colors that I had enough to do a little rainbow t-shirt. And we love rainbows. We'll probably do a whole rainbow episode. My husband has a beautiful rainbow blanket that his mom made him when he was a kid. I have a ton of rainbow things. It just seems like the natural progression of color. It's what's in the sky during or after a rainstorm. We get tons of rainbows at our house. Maybe it's just that we can see a ton of rainbows at our house because we have a view where our last house, we were kind of like in trees. So you didn't really see any. That is another piece that I absolutely love. I love having a t-shirt. I have a couple other shirts that I made, but this was one of my favorites. Jason has a ton of stuff that he's made also. He loves crocheting. That's one of his favorite things, but he's gonna have to share his projects with you. I'll do a quick little flash of some of the things he made, but those are up to him to talk to you about. I'm trying to coerce him into coming and doing this with me, so we'll see. Let's talk about some of the things that I have going on right now. So I'm working on a cardigan for my husband, Jason. He loves cardigans, and he wears cardigans or jackets all the time. There's a closet behind you, I guess, filled with different jackets, fleece jackets. I mean, you name it, he's always wearing something. He gets cold. So I am knitting him this cardigan. It is the Burnstown cardigan, and I am using Ella Rae classic wool. It is a virgin wool. If that doesn't come out good, I'll get a secondary shot. But this is what I'm using, and it is color 85. It's a navy. It's a very, very beautiful navy color. And I have it in my main yarn cruise bag. It is not a physical boat cruise. It is a yarn crawl. I don't know why we call it a cruise, but it is a yarn crawl, and it takes over the summer and into the fall to visit all the stores that participate in Maine. And we have some lovely sponsors like Baracco, Malbrigo, and Plymouth, and Jaggerspun, and Harrisville Designs. So many. And I love their bags. It's a different bag every year. But here is the cardigan, and it's kind of hard to see. It is dark, and I'm trying to make it as bright as possible in here, which is kind of tough. This is actually a little big for him. So when he tried it on, the sleeves are massive, and I'll link this pattern below. It is a free pattern, so if you're interested in it, by all means, go knit one up. But the sleeves are massive. They're very large. On him, this is still large. So what I think I'm going to do is grab a spare set of circular needles, pick up the stitches, and actually start the body there. It will take away body stitches, which is good because this is really baggy on them. And then it will also take away some arm stitches. I think I know exactly how many stitches I need at the end, so I can divide out how many are here. I decreased 2 stitches every inch, and it still is really big, and it looks very blousy on him. And I haven't even done the button bands or the collar yet. I stopped halfway through the body, or with only a couple inches left, because I finished a ball of yarn. And I just put it on some stitches so I could work on a sleeve. And I'm kind of glad I did, because if I finished the entire body and then realized I needed to pull back because the raglan sleeve was too much, I'd be really upset. This is a very beautiful design, just a little bit big for his body style. So we're gonna tick back a little bit and then I'll start the body. It'll actually resolve 2 problems, the sleeve being too big and the body being too big. But that's what is going on with, that's what I'm making for him. Can't talk, can I? And I keep putting my hair behind my ear, and I'm really trying not to. You don't need to see the gray that's coming in underneath. So that's what we'll do. I really want to get him this cardigan. The color is beautiful, and I got the yarn on sale. So that's project 1. This will become priority soon. So quick projects. I'm currently, oh, and I also make my own little bags. So the project bag by me. This one actually has a cute little pocket on the inside. So I am in the midst of making a pair of socks. I just decided I wanted some socks for me. I've made my husband a ton of socks. My own socks. I have a few slipper socks that I like to wear around the house. And that's about it. I don't have too many pairs of socks. So I thought it's time that I made myself some socks, because I have found that as I'm getting older, my feet aren't they get a lot colder. When I was younger, I could go barefoot, my feet are freezing, no big deal. Now I really feel the coldness that happens in my feet. So I want to make some socks for myself. So this pair is a corally color. I don't have the name of this. I know the yarn, but I don't have the name of the yarn. I caked this up a long time ago and just tossed out that ball band without thinking. And then I have this black section. I'll do the cuff, the heel, and the toe with that color. This is the color all caked up. It is a beautiful coral color, and it's pink. And then the main sock is Premier Wool Free Brights. So it is a Premier sock yarn. And it is this black with speckly coral color. It's called Neon Orange. I have a couple others that are green, yellow, and purple. So these two work really good together. So that's why I'm putting them together. Now, when I make socks, I use a 2.75 millimeter needle. US, I have no idea. I'm sorry. I'll look it up. And I make my socks in tandem. I like to do them 2 at a time. This one, I was actually planning, usually the way I do it, and I'll explain why I didn't do it this time. Usually when I do it, I'll do a cuff, and then I'll start the leg, and then I'll do the next cuff. And once I get to the heel, since I'm going to cut the main color, I'll start the next leg. And then I'll do both of the heels at the same time. And then I'll do one foot, I'll do the next foot, I'll do a toe, I'll do the last toe. And then I usually Kitchener the toes off together. This time I didn't do it. I made a mistake on this sock. I usually, on a 2.75 millimeter needle, I usually take 52 stitches is my size foot. But when I try to cuff on, I have like just a random cuff in the other room. When I tried my cuff on, it looked a little tight. So I was like, oh, maybe I should go up to 56, add 4 extra stitches. So I did, and that's this. And then I did my leg. Then I realized it was too big and I didn't want to pull back. So what I did is I decreased before doing the heel. I don't know if you can see like where it was, and then kind of looks a little maybe-ish. So I decreased anyways, 4 stitches, and then I did my heel. And I do a shadow wrap heel. I really like the way it looks with a colored heel, a different colored heel. So I did a shadow wrap heel, and then I'll just do a normal toe. Nothing super special. Those won't take me long once I kind of push through them. This is the project in this project bag that I will bring to me. This is the project that I will bring with me when I go out to lunch, or if we're in the car or anything like that. This is the one I'll work on. It's a quick, easy travel. It doesn't take too long, and it's pretty much after I get the heel done, or even once I get the ribbing done, it's all just quick knitting. It's just stockinette. The heels don't normally take me very long. They take me about less than 45 minutes to put a heel on. So it's a nice, quick, easy. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Bloop. The yarn, this coral yarn, is a Hobby Lobby yarn. It's their Yarn Bee yarn. I got a bunch of this on clearance. It was $2.24. I got a green, a yellow, the orange that you see there, and another orangey color. I think it's more like a peachy color. And this is called Color Idol, and this one is L for Lemon. I do not know what this is called. I got rid of the label, so I'm not even sure what this colorway is. And it is 50% merino wool, 30% nylon, and 20% acrylic. And the main color is just 100% acrylic. Oh, 93% acrylic, 7% nylon. So those are the socks. I have so much sock yarn. Not only did I get a bunch from my mom, but it's like I've been collecting it. Another quick project. I got this yarn also on clearance, and it is called Uptown DK Magic by Universal Yarns. And this particular colorway is called Pink Tango. And this is kind of what it will look like when it's worked up. I have not used this. I have 2 balls of this. I just wanted you to see the yarn because I lost the label to the one I'm going to show you. It's a purple version. So my purple version, I actually forgot to grab the socks, but it's in the sock picture. I have made a hat, and this is a double hat, so it can go either which way, inside or outside. I sew mine together so I don't have to worry about it being right or being wrong. And then it also folds up. So it's a beautiful double brimmed hat. I wear this one when I go walking in the morning. We do about a 3-mile walk every morning, and in the winter when it's chilly, we do a hat. We don't walk if it's below 18 degrees Fahrenheit, in case you're curious. I've also did a pair of mittens. When I walk, I usually just ball my hand up. So if I'm wearing a mitten, I just kind of ball my hand up. So this is a great mitten, and I made it long enough so it'll go underneath my jacket, and I don't have to worry about it getting too cold. So I have a hat and mittens. I have a pair of socks, not with me though. And then I made this little cowl. Well, actually, let me do something different. Hold on. I made this scarf. No, you're like, that's not a scarf, Becky. That's a swatch. It was a scarf. I've been reusing it. But I made this scarf, and it's garter panel and then stockinette. But unfortunately, it started folding. And it's like I had a little... And that's not what I wanted it to do. I like something being around my neck. So I was like, oh, I'm going to make a cowl. So I made this cowl, which is only 100 stitches. But this cowl, I always wear my hair up when I walk. It's just, there's too much neck exposed. I need something like on my neck, like keep me warm. Now this feels cold. Never happy, huh? So I decided to make a longer cowl, and this is on my needles right now. And I'm using this. This was much longer. It's now this. So I'm almost done this, and this cowl is 240 stitches. And what I'm doing with this cowl is I'm doing 3 rows of purl, knit, purl, so a garter sequence. Then I'm doing 9 rows of stockinette, and then I'm doing another garter, stockinette, garter, stockinette, and now I'm into another garter as I'm finishing this up. But I'd like to do another section, so there's 4 sections. So I'm actually going to pull this apart also. I'm big on pulling apart this year for some reason. I'm like, just rip it up. So I'm going to pull this apart and I'm going to finish this, but it'll give me some leftover. So I think what I'm going to do with the remainder of this is I'm actually going to create just a headband. So if it's a little too warm to wear a hat, I at least have a headband to keep my ears warm, because that's usually what gets cold. And I might even go a little bit more weird and wear it when I wear my baseball cap. So I have sun protection and warm ears. I kind of have this housed right now in another homemade bag that I made. And this is just spare. This is just some spare fabric that I have around. A little bit of a square bottom, so my projects can sit. This one I didn't have interfacing in, so it's kind of a little, I'm actually thinking about opening it and putting some interface in. I put this little clippy ring in, and all it's doing is weighing it down. So I might take that out and repurpose that and put some interfacing in, and then seal it back up and have a little more of a taut bag. This bag has interfacing, so it's a little more taut. So that one I like to carry around with me. Plus I love batik fabric. Isn't it so pretty? So pretty. And this, if you're curious, like what's this? This stuff, we got some blankets, and the blankets, like throw blankets for your sofa, that come in like a little Velcro wrap that makes it look like a nice wrapped up blanket. Well, those like little wrappy Velcro things I saved, and I folded it in thirds, and I just did a zigzag stitch to hold it all together. I used a contrasting color here. I used a dark color on this one, so it actually does have it. You probably just can't really see it very well. I should have used the light blue. I think that would have been cool. Jason doesn't like it. This he doesn't like seeing it. I don't mind. Oh, I can put this stuff back. So this is something I've been puttering away at. And this I had, I think, 3 balls of it, and 3 balls can go quite far. The hat is 1 whole ball. The mittens are some spares, and I think that was some spare. It's a lot, but I like it. I like wearing them. I knit a whole lot of hats for my family for Christmas this year, but I didn't save any of them. All right, the next thing, I have 3 long-term projects. When I say long-term, I'm not in any rush at all to finish these. So the first one is in, yes, another Yarn Cruise bag. This was 2019. This was the first Yarn Cruise bag I got. I think this was their 3rd annual. I missed the first 2. Didn't even know what was happening. So this one I am using a ball of yarn that's almost used up. It's like almost super used up. It is a twister, and it is by the company Hobie. And this is an old one. I bought this, I think, back in 2019, and it is 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. This color was pink in the middle, and it went out to gray. So let me show you. I am making a shawl out of it. So this is the shawl that I'm making, and it has the pink in it, and it fades to gray. And this is just a basic, I'm not following a pattern. I'm just doing a little bit of a yarn over at the end, and I'm doing KFB to create a little bit of an eyelet on the edge. The way these cakes work is it is 4 colors twisted. It's 4 strands of yarn twisted together, and it's a gradient change. So every so often it changes 1 strand of 4 to the new color, and it slowly changes, 2 strands, and it will slowly go to 3 strands, and then it will become all 4 strands. So the color becomes graded, almost ombre. So that's one thing I'm working on. This is a 2-row repeat. When I pull it out, I always do at least 2 rows. These are on a pair of very long Addi circular needles, 4mm. The Addi cords are very plastic and hold their shape. So quite often they're not my favorite cords. The needle themselves are fine. I don't mind the needle. The next long-term project I'm working on, same yarn, same twister yarn, a different color. I don't have the label. This started out as a shawl. I never used the shawl. It was actually one of the first things I knit, and I learned how to continental knit on this shawl. There are quite a bit of mistakes in it. The shawl was just way too long. I never wore it. I never wore it as a scarf. I never wore it as a shawl. It just sat around, and I just didn't want a piece in my wardrobe that is literally just gonna sit around and I'm never gonna use. So I got inspired by Hobie. They have a beautiful granny square shrug. And I was like, ooh, I could do that. I don't want it as big as the picture shows, but I do want something that's similar to that. So I started it. This is, yes, another bag. I don't like it so much. I think I'm gonna remove the handle. The bag is a little big, so I'm afraid everything's gonna fall out. So I think I'm gonna remove the handle. That's pretty easy. I did sew down this because I really like the way it looked, but I think I'm gonna flip it up a little bit and turn it into a drawstring bag. So it's a little floppy drawstring bag. So this is the cake, and I actually recaked it up backwards. This was the outer color, and this dark was the inner color. But I want to start with the outer color. I want to start with this light color in the center, and then do a granny square where I work out, and it will turn into these beautiful blues, and then into this dark, and that dark will be the edge of my shrug. I'm using a 4.5mm needle, oh my goodness, crochet hook. I like clover personally, and this is what I have so far. Don't mind the stitch marker in the middle. It's just a spare stitch marker, and I didn't know where to put it. So this is what I'm working on now. I guess it would be this way. Now stop flopping it, Becky. Jeesh. So I just started it. I'm not in any rush of hurry up and finish it. This I'd like more for spring, summertime, when we're sitting out on the porch in the evening, or even just fall time. We have some really beautiful fall weather here, at least the last few years we have, where it doesn't really get cold until sometime in November. So I think we sat out on our deck until 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Then we were like, maybe we should put the lawn furniture away. Crazy year. So that's that. I'll fix the bag. It will stay housed in this little bag though. It'll be more of a drawstring. That will never get so big and bulky that I have to worry about it too much. All right. One more project that's long-term, and it is a blanket. And yes, it is in another Yarn Cruise bag. This one is the 2022. This was this year's Yarn Cruise. I love the bags. Every year the bags are spectacular. Jason has the first 2 bags. He joined the Yarn Cruise. I have this bag. He did not get this bag this year. This bag is actually a little bit of a duffel bag. So you can carry it like a bag, but then it has this neat little floop, and now it can be a sling, over the shoulder sling. I like the element of this bag where it kind of goes up and over. There's no defined lines. So there's something about that that I really like. And then of course, we still have all of the wonderful sponsors. In here, I have a blanket. Now, this blanket, I can't show you everything because getting this ball of yarn in here was impossible, but I have a fuzzy. But I do have another ball of yarn that's just a different color that I'll show you right here. I have yellow. It is a 28-ounce ball of acrylic yarn, and it is huge. And it's supposed to be able to make one full blanket. So I wanted something easy. I didn't want anything that was going to be crazy, tough, hard. I wanted to sit down in the evening and make a blanket. So I did. I am on 5.5 millimeter circular needles. These are a pair of fixed Chow. And this is what I have so far. Just a simple basic corner to corner blanket so far. I'm going to make this rectangular, not square. So once I hit a certain point, I start to decrease on one side while I continue to increase on the other side. These are just made with simple KFBs. Like literally that's all the pattern is. At the beginning of every round, you knit 2, and then you KFB, and then you knit to the end of the round. You turn, you knit 2, you KFB, and you knit to the end of the round. That's it so far, until I add some knit 2 togethers. It's a very friendly beginner garter panel section, and I like the little border that you get. So that is just another little long-term pick up, knit when I can project. If I have nothing that I'm starting new, that's what I'm going to grab and knit on. 2 projects that I think I'm going to be starting fairly soon in the future. I'd like to finish Jason's cardigan before I start this, and the pair of socks and my cowl. So the only thing I'll have going are my long-term projects, which I'm not in any rush to finish. The one project I'd like to make is another harvest cardigan. So just like this, I'd like to make another one in a little bit of a stiffer yarn. I do have a ton of acrylic. So I have it here in this bag. No, I didn't make this bag. I did buy it. I bought it from the Christmas tree shop years ago. I have this blue and green one with the letter B for Becky. And then I also have a red and black one that has a letter H on it for my last name. And this is the yarn that I'm going to use. I got it on clearance for $7, and it is Lion Brand's Pound of Love. It is a navy blue color, because you know I'm jealous of Jason's beautiful navy blue wool cardigan. But I know this one ball, which cost me $7, will make one cardigan. I used something similar to this to make a pullover sweater when I was just trying to knit my first sweater, and I didn't want to waste a ton of money on really good wool to find out that I'm just going to make a mistake. So now, instead of trying to knit everything in great wool, I'm really just trying to use up some of the things that I have in stash. So a cardigan, which I wear quite often, and I'm usually just around the house when I wear it, will work out great for some acrylic. So that is a future project that I have in mind. I did go shopping, and I bought myself a brand new pair of luxury sock yarn, and I will be making myself another pair of socks out of that. It only takes me 50 grams, less than 50 grams, to knit a pair of socks for myself. My sock recipe is 15 rounds for the cuff, usually about 20 to 30, lately 30 rounds for the leg, my heel, and then about 65 rounds for my foot and then my toe. So as long as the yarn is about standard fingering weight yarn, sock weight yarn, 50 grams is all I need to get 2 socks. That's the current projects that I'm working on, and some of the projects that I've done in the past. So next time, I'd really love to talk about some crochet, what I've done in the past, any progress I've made on the current crochet projects that I'm doing, and anything that might be happening going forward. I like to keep a mixture of knitting and crochet, and I'm hoping I'll be able to talk Jason into coming in a little bit, maybe even some B-roll where he's not sitting in front of the camera, but I can get him working on a couple projects. He's currently working on a very beautiful blanket, a mandala, and he absolutely loves mandalas. So hopefully he can talk a little bit about that, and I can just insert it, maybe get him a little warmed up and more comfortable about doing this. I'd love any feedback from you, any comments, any questions, and I hope as I go forward, if I happen to have any questions, that some of the very talented people that are watching can help me answer some of those questions. Again, I really don't have too many knitters around, so hopefully you guys can be my knitters. Well, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you sticking around. Don't forget to thumbs up, subscribe if you want this to be put into your reel, and I still will be doing some knitting and crocheting time-lapse videos. So keep an eye out on that. And the best way to do it is to subscribe. Thanks.